to the Clubman grid, and it's Neaden and Nye on the front row of the starting grid, with Sinan Mutton and Paul Turland on the second, Steve Nichols and Leo Morgan from Dervan Aylan, and then it is Dominic Neaden in front of Chris Fabian in the 47 and Tom Hewland in P10. Then we have on the sixth row Gary Evans ahead of Marty Gilfillan, and Sean Deacon sadly will not take the start, so it's going to be a flamboyant 12 to the line. We're under starters orders, and already Ike Needham wants to hold the lead on the way through. The UK plate is hoping to get a decent start. Hasn't just got a decent start, has already pulled about 3 kart lengths on everybody, so it's a perfect start for Ike Needham.
Yeah, Neaden, the man from Hinckley in Leicestershire, not far away from here as he locks it up coming into the turn, but keeps the lead. Another battle going up the inside.
A little bit, got a problem at the back there, unfortunately, and apologies. So clearly that wasn't intentional in the slightest. But already a couple of drivers getting a little bit too close for comfort. It was Gary Evans trying desperately not to get involved in an incident, and unfortunately there was nothing really he could do to avoid it.
Mutton there picked out. He was in 4th place going through the line. I think he's still in 4th place at the moment as they come out of Wilkins across the start-finish line for the first time.
So that is Josh Nye, still running in a solid 2nd position. For some reason his name doesn't read on our timing screen in front of us, but it is Josh Nye. Then Dervan Aylan, that's a brilliant start for Dervan, to be fair. Steve Nichols, then Kinnan Mutton, Leo Morgan, Paul Turland, Tom Hewland and Dominic Neaden. The man involved in the first lap incident was Marty Gilfillan, but fortunately Marty has been able to get the kart going again, so that is good news. Running at the back of the grid, of course, but at least the race continues. Oh, and a big slap before Dervan Aylan. That has gone terribly wrong. Hand in the air, as if to say, what on earth happened? I don't know whether he was gesturing that he got nudged or whether he just made the mistake himself. It looked to me as though it was a driver error, though.
Dervan Lane, I'm going to pronounce that, Jake, but you know, we'll get it right between us, I'm sure.
We certainly need to keep score of these, don't I? Maybe I've got one, maybe you've got one. We'll have to figure it out later. Right, Ike Needham, fastest lap of the race as he pulls clear, 0.6 of a second quicker than Josh Nye. That just shows you what being in the lead and having that momentum, having that rhythm and composure can do for your race pace. Meanwhile, we've got a decent charge forward from Paul Turland, trying to have a look on the inside of Leo Morgan. Hasn't been able to commit to that move, so had to bail out of it. Meanwhile, Steve Nichols is just ahead of Kinnan Mutton, and then Leo Morgan and Paul Turland just fighting in behind. A little bit of curb from Tom Hewland, but he certainly has the stability to run in front of Dominic Needham, Sean Deacon and Chris Fabian as they run through. But Dervan Aylan has ended up dropping to the back of that pack. 11th position now in front of Gary Evans and Marty Gilfillan. This is the chance for Paul Turland. He gets through though. There's not a lot Leo Morgan can do except just allow it to happen.
It almost looks like the battle for 1st and 2nd is over as Needham sets another fastest lap. And this is a battle for 3rd now, Jake, as Hewland just goes through the picture there. Yeah, in the blue as it comes out of Cafe Corner.
Rather depressing to talk about the lead battle being over with 9 minutes still on the clock, isn't it? But you're absolutely right. Here comes the charge up the inside. Oh, missed braking! Oh my goodness!
That's Tom Hewland, he's taken out.
Oh, wow, that was pretty heavy.
Deacon on the 72, straight into Tom Hewland. Hewland was minding his own business, Jake.
Yeah, it certainly was.
And will have been shocked to suddenly get wiped out from behind.
Well, whether Sean Deacon just missed his braking point because he was so busy paying attention to the battle he was in, or whether the brake actually failed, whichever way you look at it, that was a nasty hit. And both drivers are very lucky indeed to get out of that one, as Ike Needham bangs in another flyer ahead of Josh Nye, Steve Nichols and Kinnan Mutton. But, ooh, if you're Tom Hewland and Sean Deacon, you're going to have a headache that will last a fortnight.
Yeah, that wasn't the
They've
best
kept going,
driving.
though.
I think Deacon will hold his hands up for that one as they got that slightly wrong.
But they've kept going, which is just indicative of how strong these guys actually are. That would have been game over for me. I would have said, no, sorry, my ribs can't handle any more of that. I'm walking home and finding a hot dog. But these guys, absolutely warriors. Wonderful to see that they've gone through that and are still pushing on. Needham, Nye, Nichols, Mutton, Turland, Morgan, Dominic Needham in 7th in front of Aylan, and then it is Chris Fabian ahead of Gary Evans. And the lap time pace, Needham is still a good 2 to 3/10 of a second quicker than everybody that's chasing him down.
This is a battle, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in the picture now from the drone. Great shot. Battle for 3rd on screen.
We're going to see if this is going to be enough for the move, but at the moment, Mutton just can't quite get close enough to chop in on Steve Nichols. He's got to wait, really, for Nichols to get it slightly crossed up on a curve like that, and now he can get the momentum. So Kinnan Mutton has a real shot here to keep this going all the way down the back straight. He might get a slingshot into Wilkins. He's definitely fairly close through Hanger. Yeah, you don't. The trouble is, you've got to know that the move is on if you're going to come from that far back. You've got to know, fully on confidence, yes, I can slingshot this. I'm not going to make contact. I'm going to be fairly confident it's all going to work out. And if you've got even the slightest bit of doubt heading into Wilkins, you don't risk it. You just bail out.
Needham set another fastest lap there now, 3.1 seconds clear of the rest of them. Josh Nye there just looks reasonably comfortable in second, but these three behind, if they work together, could close him.
Like Needham's in the 48s now. Everybody else is in 49 3s, 49 4s. Like Needham just did a 48.8. I mean, if that's not Max Verstappen style domination, I don't know what is really. But fair play to Josh Nye. He's still got the pace compared to the quartet battling for third position behind. And look at Paul Turlin. He's starting to get close to Kinnan Mutton now. He clearly feels, look, Kinnan, you've done the best you can to get past Steve Nichols, but you're not doing anything. It's one of those sit or get off the pot moments, isn't it? Just get out of the way. Let me have a crack at it. It's going to be tricky, though, because Kinnan Mutton is not going to back down through Cafe. Out of the right-hander. Back towards the hairpin again. Nichols, Mutton, Turlin, Leo Morgan just a little way further back. Down to the Stratford hairpin. And again, it would be an ambitious move to go for it in the hairpin, but Kinnan Mutton has clearly got to plan this one and work it out bit by bit. Got very much closer in the Bruno Ferrari chicane. Now this is going to be Kinnan Mutton's best chance yet. Here we go, on the back straight, having a look at Steve Nichols, up towards Hanger, fling it through the right. Don't take any curb there, that'll unset the kart. He's just not quite close enough. The thing is, Steve Nichols has got decent pace. He needs to wait for a big mistake, and it's not coming yet.
Yeah, and he's positioning himself there, going into Wilkins in a way that is going to be difficult for anybody to either get the switch back on him, go wide out and come back underneath him on the exit, and even if they do, then they're going to be on the outside, going through onto the start-finish line. So good driving there for the man in third place.
Yeah, Steve Nichols doing a good job. He's not even in rear wing panic mode, is he? He's not even checking over his shoulder, trying to figure out where is Kinnan Mutton. He's just doing exactly what he needs to do, focusing in the car in front of him, looking ahead rather than looking back. But the second you start looking behind you, and as I say that, he just checks over his shoulder to see where Kinnan Mutton is. The second you start looking behind you, you're inviting the overtake from the guy in front. It almost says, right, I'm a little bit nervous now about where you are. So that's almost an open invitation to Kinnan Mutton. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Another fastest lap for the race leader. He is now so far clear. He's in a different postcode from everybody else.
He's going
4.4 seconds up the road.
Do you know what? He's going 4 to 5 tenths of a second per lap quicker than Josh Nye and Nichols further back. This is monstrous pace from Ike Needham, as Kinnan Mutton is now actually falling into the clutches of Paul Turlin. He's got to be very careful. Up towards the Bruno Ferrari chicane, and now look, this is clever. Nichols, Mutton and Turlin have been so close in terms of their pace. They've been matching each other sector for sector. They're reeling in Josh Nye. This is no longer a battle for third. It's actually got the legs to be a battle for second place now.
Yeah, definitely a battle now for second place, as Nye's going to come under pressure here. He's going to have to try and hold on the best he can as they go through the line. 3 minutes 42 and change to go.
He just lost 2 tenths there on the lap to Steve Nichols. Nichols has got the confidence and the faith in this kart now. He can stretch it. He can have a look at second position. It's definitely game on. Paul Turlin needs to keep his wits about him here in 5th place, because these three, if they tighten up, there might be something in the offing for him. And even Leo Morgan needs to look after the tyres in the next couple of laps, because if he's got better tyres than the 4 men up front, he could get a last lap steal.
They're starting to get closer, much closer there. So this is definitely, as we see, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th on screen, and 6 not far away.
Now this battle is going to be decided by who decides to blink first. Who has decided, right, I can make this move, I can change the shape of this race. If Kinnan Mutton goes for Steve Nichols and they lose momentum, Nye has 2nd place wrapped up in his pocket. If Turlin goes for it, then there's still a little bit of an opportunity for Nichols to close in on Josh Nye. And Leo Morgan just needs to allow the chain reaction to happen to give himself a chance to get in there. So this all comes down to who goes for it first. Does Kinnan Mutton try? or does Paul Turland have a look? Meanwhile, this man, just oblivious out front, Ike Needham, is still going 3 to 4 tenths of a second per lap quicker than everybody else. When you're in your zone, when everything's going perfectly, when the kart is balanced, when you feel confident, it's the perfect Sunday drive. There's nothing that can ruin it.
Yeah, he's in a class of 1 at the moment. It's amazing. Sometimes we see this, Jake.
Here comes Morgan. He's decided he's had enough of waiting. He's going to try. Oh, sorry, that's not Morgan. That is Paul Turland, isn't it? Riding behind Kinnan Mutton. There's Leo Morgan. So that was exactly the kind of move he could have capitalised on, but he wasn't quite close enough. However, Paul Turland had a look at Kinnan Mutton, not able to do it.
Into the last lap then, as they come out onto Stratford Straight, up to Stratford Hairpin. Still Knight out front. Here's a move for third.
Mutton's going to try. He's been working up to this all the way through the race. He's side by side with Nichols. Nichols is not bailing out of it. Up to the Bruno Ferrari chicane. Somebody's got to give. Ike Needham's got an absolute country mile on Josh Nye.
As we come off the battle, unfortunately, right at the wrong time, but this is the race leader who's going to take a comfortable lights to flag victory. It's been all Needham all day. Now, that's this time. What's he going to be like next time? Is he happy about it? You bet he is.
Well, Needham is the first driver today to cross the finish line under checkered flag conditions, of course. Brilliant run from Josh Nye, and Kinnan Mutton did get third position. Paul Turland got through as well for fourth place. Steve Nichols has to settle for P5 in front of Leo Morgan. A very frustrated Dervin Aylan comes across the line. He was in that mix, don't forget, until his spin-off. So Ike Needham takes the win from Josh Nye. 7 seconds clear. That's a mammoth gap. Kinnan Mutton, patience pays off, into third position at the end there, ahead of Paul Turland and Steve Nichols. In the points table, Josh Nye leads Dervin Aylan, and the man who was absent this weekend, Jack Dunbobbin, ahead of Kinnan Mutton, and the man who's taken the victory today, Ike Needham.
That's the end of this first programme. Join us for part 2 when we'll be bringing you the remaining 3 finals from the weekend. See you then.